Some days you just want to make a dress that's actually your size. Fun fact, when sewing vintage sewing patterns, that's not always doable, at least for someone of my stature. But what does that mean, Stephanie? I'm so glad you asked. Sometimes that means you go onto eBay. You buy a lot of patterns because you think you see things in your size. And so you buy the thing and you get it and you're very excited because one of those patterns is a wrap dress in your size. So you get really excited because you think, oh my gosh, I'm finally gonna have a wrap dress in my size that isn't that cursed walkaway reproduction. Great, I'm so excited. Let's make this. So you get excited, you get dressed, you put on lipstick. Maybe, just maybe, you should have looked at the envelope that it came with, where it says right there, a different pattern number. So what does that mean for you? That means that your pattern that you absolutely thought was your size and is a wrap dress. No, it is not a wrap dress. It is in fact some type of summer strap dress. So I guess I'm still not mad about it, but it changed my plans in ways that I wasn't fully prepared for. But we're going to deal with it one step at a time because I want a new dress because I have been vaguely cleared by my doctor to lift anything more than slightly more than 5 pounds with this thing, and by God, I want to sew. So I'm gonna strap on, that could be taken really wrong, the brace of power. And I'm gonna try some sewing. So this is what we're seeing. We have a front piece, a back piece, shoulder strap, and 2 facings. So hopefully not too hard to be able to do with only one good hand, which is absolutely not my dominant hand. Am I still bummed that it's not the wrap dress? Absolutely I am. But there's only one way to get over this, and that is by going through it.
I would like to see the baby.
And yes, because I'm embracing my inner nerd, I absolutely am using this fantastic Mandalorian fabric that I got from Joann's on like 70% off. So I paid like, I think $5 a yard for this. So I am not mad, even if it turns out a little wonky. I think it's still in final clearance, so I can go get more. Oh yeah, did I mention that because the instructions were absolutely wrong on the inside of the packet, that means I have no instructions to do this with too? I love that for me. How is this gonna close? Well, that sounds like a problem for future Stephanie. But current Stephanie is going to go ahead and keep cutting out this pattern using her rotary wheel, which hopefully will help this go a little bit faster, and not using her right hand, which is absolutely her dominant hand for the scissor cutting shenanigans. Oh, this makes me so nervous. Oh God, it moves. Ah! This thing is doing nothing other than stressing me out. So I'm gonna go back to scissors now with my left hand. Okay, maybe it did sort of work. Sort of being the key word in that phrase. Yeah! Shit!
A few moments later.
Okay, update. I made a TikTok. So you know how that feeling when you find a vintage pattern, it's actually your size, which when you are my size is not all that common. But then you forget that because it's your size, this happens? Yeah, that. No matter what I do, I will be probably missing some on the inside. And then I figured it out. So it's not perfect, but it'll do.
That'll do, pig.
Why? Because as long as I can keep the seam line where I actually sew inside the fabric, it's fine. I don't care if there's a corner out of my seam allowance. Who cares? No one's gonna see it but me. However, I have realized that this does not have pockets, so I will be rectifying that because absolutely not. We do not make a dress without pockets. But before I got to the pockets, I realized that the pattern asked for interfacing, which I hadn't done. So I did that. And then I decided to get clever and check out the notches and try and make a pocket that was about 4 inches below the notch that was already given on the pattern. I really thought I was onto something. Also, let this be a cautionary tale as to why you do not wear true vintage to cut out a pattern. Oops.
The next day.
Good morning. It's day 2. And by morning, I mean good afternoon because it is absolutely 2 o'clock in the afternoon. However, not gonna let that stop us. So last night I was able to get through tailor tacking, which I will say was when this was like, and you're done!
I'm the sheriff around these parts.
And I do have the brace standing by, but we're going to start without it because hopefully today isn't as bad because it's not going to be as taxing for this guy. Hopefully. But I only got the thing cut out, so I'm going to have to do a lot of work today to get a wearable dress in a day and a half. But thankfully it's only a couple pieces, so I'm hoping that after I get the darts done, which will be the most challenging part and is of course the first step, and I know that even without the instructions. I'm hoping the rest of it goes together relatively well, even since I didn't choose to add pockets, which don't have markings, so I just measured 4 inches down from the other notch that existed and decided, yes, this is Pocket Town! Pocket Town! So we'll see how that goes. Let's do what I'm avoiding, which is step number 1, the darts. But before we can do the darts, I do actually have to take out the tailor's tack, so I figured I'd show you how I do that. I use my scissors and cut a very slight line in the pattern itself. Don't worry, this is standard use for patterns. Then I gently ease the thread through the line that I just made, and then I gently open up the fabric and cut through the middle of the 2 pieces so that one half of the tailor's tack is on either piece of my fabric. Okay, now I gotta sew a dart. Okay, here's what we got so far. Since I don't know what this actually looks like, we're just kind of going with it. And I didn't pin it on straight, but that's neither here nor there. And I don't know what you're talking about. I, of course, am not using my little sewing clips that I just bought to attach this onto my dress. I'm not gonna put the pockets there. That's like mid-thigh, so I think I'm gonna put them up where the notch was originally. I think that's fine. Where the notch was originally perfectly fine, because hey, guess what? The dress that has pockets right there, and I'm pretty sure there's a notch. Yeah, there's a notch right there. So we'll use that instead. We'll ignore my other notches, because I don't need mid-thigh pockets. But it's not horrid. You know, only 4 pins or clips are going to it. And the darts aren't too bad, so, and we're reaching about halfway there. And we're not talking about the dress on the door. I'm not allowed to have a clothesline in Florida, so let's not talk about it. Stupid HOAs. I think that'll do. All right, great, here we go. And then it was time for pockets. Nope, not there. Yes, much better. Then we sewed it down, understitched it, and ignore the fact that the little cutout at the end of the piece was absolutely in the hem, so no one really cares. There are just sometimes these things just make me giggle. Manrian, this is way. Oh, also, I feel like I get a gold star because I actually changed out my sewing needle this time around. So this is a brand new needle for this project. Look at me go. Now that those are side seams are all together, we must set this aside and do the little bits. I could do the facings next and like turn it into one big facing and get it all ready to go. But it says on here that I'm supposed to interface them. Am I going to do that? No, I'm not. I will be understitching them to give them some structure, but I have no desire to have interfacing something stiff and no. It can just be light and flowy, and these can just be light and flowy because they're there. Great, glad we had that chat. Now, I did interface these bad boys. These are the straps. And absolutely, I'm so glad you asked. Yes, I did painstakingly cut these one at a time so that I could have Mando running, you know, right as close to the center as I could possibly get it. Now, this is supposed to be like a button situation, so like I'll put a button on here after I sew it and turn it and all that jazz. I'm not going to do that because the buttonhole isn't in the strap, it's on the dress, and I'm not putting a buttonhole in that dress. No, thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these straps. I am going to make the facings. I'm going to do a sandwich that goes dress, strap, facing, and then I'm just gonna make sure that they're the right size because I'm not putting a button on this like that. All right, let's get sewing. And while these would make horrible dark swords, they're still very stiff for just general sleeve applications. So we're gonna go ahead, gonna turn these, we're going to top stitch them because with this much interfacing, I don't want to risk them like twisting weirdly. So I'll top stitch them, and then I will get to assembling my dark sword knot sleeve things. Step 1, pink the things. Step 2, use a ring sizer to turn it inside out. Carefully. And we pray the interfacing doesn't tear. Hope this is the way that it is centered. All right, a little off center, but not too bad, she says before looking inside the strap and realizing that maybe there are some things you actually do need to buy brand new and not thrift. These things, while they are helpful in some ways, the pressure with which to apply these is more than my left hand can usually handle, and with my right hand not being up to par, it's just not ideal. So that's why I used pins, because it was actually a lot easier, shockingly. And after what felt like 3,000 years, I did finally figure out how the facing should be sewn together. Oh, yeah, that's it. And then I made my happy little strap sandwich. That could still be taken so wrong. Well, all that's left is going to be some pinking and some zipper installation. But let's go over to the reveal now, shall we? It's too hot. It's done! And I'm no longer the color of a cherry. But Stephanie, is this your favorite thing you've ever made? No! No, it's not. I can't properly describe how much I actually don't enjoy the 1970s patterns until I did this the first time and I tried to put it on. And y'all, I could have fit an apple on either side of how much room there was in this top. And this pattern supposedly was made for me because I have grown a little bit and I have exactly the measurements of the pattern. And yet there was still so much ease in the bust. I've got some extra darts through here that don't belong. I had to pinch out 2 inches out of the darts out of the back. I had to take another inch out of each side, and the inside of this is hot garbage. It's a fine dress. It will get worn now that I've at least made it so it's wearable, because originally when I put this on, it was like, oh no, we're not putting that on our body. That's not gonna help the dysmorphia. No, not doing that. But now it's at least to a point where I'm like, oh, okay, this is cute. Am I going to possibly take the buttons off, put like a black something up at the top to break up from the straps to here? Maybe. Should I have just made the straps black? Questionable. Am I really proud of how I centered these? See that? See that? Yeah, I am. I'm real friggin' proud of that. But overall, it's a dress. It was my size, and I made the thing. And in Chaos Sewing World, that is sometimes all it takes. And if you enjoyed this and you want to watch a little bit more, I did make a gunny sacks where I dyed some really gorgeous original vintage fabric black, or something close to it, in this video right here, and YouTube thinks you'll like that one right there. So until next time, friends, sew in chaos. Bye. The amount that it took to get this dress to fit correctly was painful. I'm never making this thing again.